Welcome to Ginnie Springs, a natural gem located in north-central Florida, where today I'll show you what it's like to scuba dive inside an underwater cavern filled with crystal-clear fresh water. Jacques Cousteau dove here in the 1970s and praised these waters as, quote, visibility forever. So come join me as I experience the natural wonder that is Ginnie Springs. The Ginnie Springs complex is located on the south side of the Santa Fe River near the town of High Springs, about 45 minutes northwest of Gainesville, home to the University of Florida. The waters here are some of the clearest on Earth, and the springs here are even home to a bottled spring water source. This privately owned paradise has been open to divers since the 1990s and boasts 7 springs, offering guests of all ages many different adventure activities besides scuba diving. Visitors have the option to swim, snorkel, go river tubing, kayaking, canoeing, or exploring the waters on a stand-up paddleboard. For those who prefer more land-based fun, there are also playgrounds, sports courts, and campsites that accommodate everything from tents to RVs that require full water and electric hookups. Upon entering the complex, your first stop will be the Ginnie General Store, the check-in building. This is where you pay your admission fees, sign any waivers, learn about the area, and rent any gear you may need. They have everything you would need for scuba diving, along with all of the other adventure activities I just mentioned. There are a lot of rental items available, so I will leave a link to the sheet in the video description in case you want to take a closer look at prices and options. In addition to the rental center, the Ginnie General Store is exactly that. They offer a wide variety of food and beverage items, camping gear, swim supplies, first aid items, toiletries, and clothing. If you need it, chances are pretty high they stock it. There's also a free air fill station if you've brought your own tubes or rafts from home. For diving at Ginnie Springs, there are 3 sites. The first is the Devil's Spring system, home to 3 separate springs: Devil's Eye, Devil's Ear, and Devil's Spring. There's a strict no lights rule at this site, as only certified cabin or cave divers may enter the water here while carrying dive lights. We wanted to dive with our lights, which is why we didn't choose this site. The second site is the Santa Fe River itself, where you can enter the water at the Devil's Spring system and then drift the nearly 1,000 feet down to the area's namesake, Ginnie Spring. Ginnie Spring is home to the 3rd dive site, which is where we chose to spend our morning diving. After stopping at the general store to take care of logistics, it was a short drive down to our dive site, Ginnie Ballroom. Plenty of parking and space to get geared up here, with covered pavilions, dive benches, and a bathroom with hot showers. We ended up greatly appreciating the hot showers at the end of the diving, as we visited on a relatively chilly and rainy day in January. The water here is 72 degrees year-round, which might sound nice, but a wetsuit is definitely needed for warmth while diving. On the plus side, the chilly weekday weather meant that we actually had this popular dive site entirely to ourselves for most of the morning. You gear up right next to the site entrance, where stairs lead down to the water. The Ginnie Ballroom site is nestled in Ginnie Spring, which is a large basin about 100 feet across and no more than 15 feet deep, so most of the area is pretty shallow. It actually was a great site for practicing buoyancy control. At the bottom of the basin lies Ginnie Cavern, which is considered safe enough to allow in divers who don't hold any cavern or cave diving certifications. You can also take your dive lights into the cavern, which was important to me so I could practice with my new gear. Artificial lights are not needed at the start of the dive, as the upper room of the cavern is well illuminated from the sunlight pouring in from the entrance. The walls of the upper cavern are made of limestone, which actually reflects the sunlight incredibly well, creating a beautiful effect underwater. As you move toward the back of the upper room, you'll find a thick, heavy-duty fixed guideline that will take you a bit deeper into the cavern to the ballroom, which has a maximum depth of about 15 meters or 50 feet. There is still some ambient light in the ballroom, but this is the part of the dive where you'll want to turn on your own light to make sure you can enjoy all the beautiful geologic formations that surround you. The weirdest part of this dive is definitely the grate at the back of the ballroom. It's welded in place and prevents anyone from trying to enter the cave system that lies beyond it. I don't know that I could manage to get in there even without the grate. About 35 million gallons of water a day pass through the opening, and you have to work really hard to not get pushed away by all that force. It's pretty intense. When you're done exploring the inside of the ballroom, you just follow the guideline back out into the upper room, finishing in the shallow basin right back where you started. So what did I think? We did 2 dives at this site, and both were pretty short, under 20 minutes each. It's a beautiful site, well worth exploring, but the cavern itself is relatively small, so you don't need a ton of time to explore it thoroughly. The water was mostly clear as advertised, although we did accidentally kick up some sediment at one point. I am so glad we went on a gross rainy winter weekday though. I liked that we had the site to ourselves as it's a pretty small space, so I can imagine that overcrowding can be an issue on more popular days, especially if there are a lot of divers in the water who are experiencing an overhead environment for the first time. Ginnie Springs truly is magical. One day, when I get some proper training under my belt, I'd love to come back and explore the Devil's Spring system. Thanks for coming along with me to check out scuba diving at Ginnie Springs. This truly is one of Florida's most beautiful natural wonders, and I love that it's both a nationally renowned freshwater diving spot and offers so many other water-based adventure activities too, so we can bring our non-diving friends along for the ride and there will be something to keep everyone happy. If you love all things diving, then check out one of my other dive videos from the playlist above. The Tulum Cenote video features more diving and overhead environments if you want to check out some other underwater caverns. Thanks for watching, and I do hope you'll subscribe to join me on all future adventures, both under the water and on land. Until then, happy diving!